Hello there, welcome to the 21st century and its digitalization. This is an inspiring and educative research into the world of digital theatrical arts tagged by practitioners as multimedia presentation in the area of drama. In multimedia style of drama presentation, this work will look into the practice and principles of multimedia, especially as it is practiced in the University of Calabar by its proponent, Kadimo Oqua, aka Uncle Kadi.
I'm an engagement. Are you serious? I'm serious. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm glad that you're doing well. No, it's not easy in this environment.
The world has gone digital, and the digital world said to be dynamic. This is because of the speedy changes in technology that affect our domestic, cultural, religious, social, and even our educational practices. In the University of Calabar, the Department of Theatre and Media Studies to be precise, the department enlarged its curricula from theatre to cover the media, thus the nomenclature Theatre and Media Studies. In line with the change of the nomenclature of Theatre Arts Department, one of the academic staff and a well-known theatre practitioner, Kadimo Oqua, also swung into action by experimenting with use of digital technology come the stage. According to his PhD abstract, this synergy of stage and digital technology produces a sensory overload in the audience. Kadimo Oqua has directed some stage plays using the multimedia style of presentation. Some of these include USA Haga's I2 2012, Arnold Udoka's Long Walk to a Dream 2013, and Elechi Amade's Pepper Soup 2014. These productions were staged in University of Calabar, Calabar. This documentary interviewed some persons to know the man behind the style in University of Calabar. Who is the man Kadimo Oqua?
Kadimo has been the one that actually introduced the element of the multimedia quite much into our stage.
I think he's more of a VR media person, so he is a communicator, actor, director relationship, very important. But I think improvements in Pepper Soup actually showed in terms of his approaches, in terms of his relationship with actors, in terms of his vision.
Yes, he's a very good director, creative one for that. He tries to blend in the multimedia into the current theatre practice. That is, it brings both the stage and the film together, and I think that's a very, very good innovation.
Kadimo Oqua is a daring director. We have very few of them around here, and he's willing to create new dimensions or open up new frontiers when it comes to theatre directing. He understands the need to include some vibrant ideas, particularly those prepared on the screen, prepared and presented on the screen as part of that performative experience on stage. So he does that, and perhaps the only one I know so far who does that around here. He's very innovative, and despite the constraints of funds, the constraints of even the audience understanding his own interpretation sometimes, nevertheless, what I would say that is that he still rams it down our throat, so we try to understand him. He understands, I'm talking about Kadimo, that people prefer to watch the screen.
Uncle Kadi, as we used to call him, is a director, is a lecturer. He's a member of the DGN, the Directors Guild of Nigeria. He's a very experienced director. He has been there for years. He has experimented on different angles and different aspects of theater and media in general.
He's a very realistic director, and that actually helped him to achieve the concepts of multimedia.
I was born some decades ago. I schooled, I did my, just like others, primary, secondary schools. My secondary school was in Hobodel. In those days, not the Hobodel of nowadays. Then I went to the Polytechnic, Calabar, graduated from there with a diploma, OND, Ordinary National Diploma in Mass Communication, before I came into UNICA to the Theatre Arts Department to start a degree course. So since then I've been here. I think as a student I was doing almost everything, and because of that I was popular and I was known by the whole school. And it was based on that I was given an automatic employment in this department. By then we had Professor Kadimo Oqua, who was our HOD, and I was in year 1 till about final year. So he recommended to the school that I'm a material you should keep. So I think based on that habit, I didn't want that kind of job then, because by then if you look at it, lecturers were
Relatively poor.
I'm telling you. Then you can see a professor then, like Professor Kadimo Oqua, I think his salary was about 3,500, 4,000. Yes. So I agreed to do the thing, but I was lecturing as a part-time lecturer. I started lecturing, and for 4 months, that's 1 semester, I was paid 1,000 naira. But I was in showbiz because that was where I was making my money. If showbiz, I started in school. In short, all those things, made them know me. I started Miss Unica here. The Miss Unica they're enjoying now. I did so many things. Most of the things I see in girls was the Malabo and girls and what they call girls hostel. Like if you saw, there was a time I went there, I saw toll gates. Those were the things I initiated. So I was known by the whole school, from the VC to the last gate man knew me. And I wasn't the president, but I was considered as the president. I was director of socials. Atu was my president. He's now, all of them are big guys now. Atu is still in the States, but he's handling some United Nations job for water board, Okay. So he was my president, but till now, even as I am here, some security who know me, they still call me Presido.
One of the questions on the mind of our viewers may be, what is multimedia all about? Multimedia may be the combination of stage, film and soundscapes, effects and others to communicate to a given audience.
Behold my
However,
servant.
Dr. Esekong Andrew has a slight different perspective.
Yeah, it's been defined from different perspectives. From my traditional area, traditional in the sense that I did my first degree in visual arts, the term that we use normally to refer to a situation where you make use of more than one medium of production was mixed media. But I would want to think with time we have seen the evolution even in terminologies of reference, because now I see a mix in usage. Some call it mixed media still, others call it multimedia. But in the performative art, this is a situation where you find both situations are performance, but you're using, one is live and the other may be recorded, okay? And still the others could be simulated, using non-human characters. All these come together under that broad reference, multimedia presentation. You could also look at it in the sense of using visual, oral, and now there's a new technology called the Haptic Technology. And when you go to watch some productions, you see, you hear, and you also feel. So situations where you see rain, for instance, you feel the effect of the rain. Haptic technology is that which has to do with touch. And there's still some research to see how much more could be unveiled to enrich the theater experience.
Multimedia is, you know, the art of combining all the digital elements with the stage and presenting them as thoughts. That is to say, in multimedia, you see some characters walk from the screen to the stage and walk back from the stage to the screen. They are still acting. It is not the same thing as mixed media. Mixed media is where, for example, you can project a bush and the actor is acting in front of it. You are showing people that he is standing in a bush, but he is not really in a bush. That is another medium. The stage is another medium. So that's what is called mixed media. It's a word from fine arts. And it might interest you to know I did fine arts in my day. So I come to find these terms. When I saw the difference, it is, okay, let's say, when you say multi is plenty, mixed, you are mixing. We are using soundtrack. We are using film, the actors on stage doing everything. We are using almost everything, digital effects, sound capes, all in the production that must have relevance in that production. You see actors acting on screen and off screen is related. It might be the progression of one scene to the next, but in mixed media it's not that way. I have told you how the mixed media is. The bush that I gave example is somebody, you are projecting a bush, a forest, and the person is in front of the stage and acting as if he's in the forest. He is not actually in the forest. That is, they are mixing the film media with the stage media. There is no sound effect, even though there might be sound effect of birds tripping, to show that it's in the bush. But even the audience will know the difference. It is different from me shooting that same character inside the bush, right?
Yes.
And I project it on stage, and that character is looking for animals in the bush to shoot, and the animal runs out on stage, and he runs after the animals on stage and kills it on stage. That is the difference. So it is not mixed, it is multi.
Many theater and media scholars bear in mind on their idea of multimedia.
Multimedia platform has come in as one of the platforms of which we can bring in new entertainment, energize the entertainment industry, energize even the theater industry, energize the also energize radio and television production, so that it makes for variety. Okay, and within the multimedia consists of a lot of material, a lot of media platform like text, like music, movement, dance, and including also animation. Okay, so film, radio, and television, they all come in as a unified element of communication that gives the listener, the target audience, the value for his money.
And multimedia staging is when you bring stage elements and film together in one piece. It might be 50-50, it might be 70-30, it might be 10 90. Depends on how well you want to infuse multimedia into your stage elements to bring out the message or to depict some elements you can't show on stage on film.
Has to do with film, has to do with sound, has to do with other technological infusement or incitement into a play production.
The multimedia type of staging is type of staging whereby you take two medium of performance, that's both the stage and also both the screen, that is film, and bring them into one, that is multimedia. Or you could take actually more than two. You could use something else, like probably a representation of pictures on stage or something, to just pick them into one.
Multimedia generally is a blend of a stage production and a film production. It's actually trying to combine these two elements of production to create some sense of difference from the normal theater productions that we know.
Multimedia staging it's a new trend in pre-production staging that involves infusing media elements into stage and theatrical elements, synchronizing them to have the media aspect probably explain some parts of the stage production better, and also have the stage production synchronized with the media for aesthetical reasons and to move with the trend of technology and media development.
Mr. Oqua gives reasons why he ventured into research of multimedia production.
I remember when I did Long Walk to a Dream, the aspect that there was a bomb blast and people died, and there's this young girl, a 10-year-old girl, who came with her mother to the church, and the bomb exploded in the church, and the young girl started crying for the mom. Her cry in the video, in the film, moved some people in the audience to cry. That is what I'm looking for. If that kind of thing was on stage, it wouldn't give that kind of effect, because you will not have that time to polish, them to bring out. These people have the attitude after it's stage, so not drama, so that empathy is not there. But these people will stay in their houses and watch film, and they empathize, and they follow, and they feel for the character. So that is what the kind of thing multimedia does.
The question of why the practice of multimedia is widely responded to by theater scholars and students participants in multimedia staging. This goes ahead to justify the reasons behind the use of multimedia in everyday events, be it church services, weddings, to mention but a few.
I would dare to say that theater in its traditional form is becoming moribund. We see theater more on the screen now. We see the result is usually boring now, because that's not the orientation of the 21st century patron. The audience member wants to see something more vibrant, wants to see a lot more inclusivity in the array of media we have now. Yes, the department is theater and media study, but it appears to me that we still do a lot of traditional theater, just maybe some splashes of media courses here and there. And when you're looking at media, for me what constitutes media is media technology before the content, even though one can always argue that yes, it's the content that determines the technology used to resolve the artistic and technical issues. Yeah. But I would want to say that without technology, media goes nowhere. Yeah, media in whatever form is now driven by technology. And you see a lot of evolution of the machines that come to use, the equipment that come to use. Before you understand the configurations of one system, a new one has already come to overtake. So we will not be adequate as a department of media studies without having a lot more course content to help the students study and understand media technology.
The reason why we try to bring in the media component is to make sure that we make our program much more attractive because of the dimensions of the interest in media, the interest in film production, the interest in electronic media and all that. So we decided to, because we have been teaching media all along, right from the beginning, but the media component has not been reflected in terms of nomenclature. We decided to have it reflected in as a form of nomenclature so that it will breathe more interest into it. Okay, to make it much more conversant to have the media also represented as a part of what we have been doing all along. So, so the nomenclature is a part of the restructuring of our department, and so far there are a lot of teething problems, especially with regards to the studio equipment. Our studio has not been sufficiently equipped for us to really practicalize what we teach in theory. We teach a lot of theory from undergraduate to PhD. I teach mostly masters and PhD program on the media. So my complaint all along is that our studio is yet to be equipped to take appropriate care of the practical components. Our students pay practical fees, and they have not really been enabled to make use of the practical fees that they pay because our studio is still below standard. We have been making appeal to the powers that be, and Professor Professor Poke, our current Vice Chancellor, is a very theater compliant, theater interested person. He's very interested in theater, and so he's giving us a listening ear. We believe that in due course, when money allows, our studio are going to be equipped sufficiently to take care of the multimedia paraphernalia that we are equipped with.
You're combining these moving images that has been shot with a camera together with the actions live on the stage, you know, combining the effects and other stage activities. So it becomes interesting, and it keeps the audience flowing.
Theater would, you know, pass message better when media is infused in it.
It's still the stage. You cannot do a production outside the stage. But the film the film has to be a blend of everything, both visual quality, both sound, both the directing, both the acting, and both the scripting. So I think I would love to put in more expertise and more hard work in the film.
As we all know, the world as it is evolving in technological aspect. So theater as we used to know it has left the theater of old and is trying to adapt in this new trend of technology. And multimedia is one of that aspects of theater now that is in trend, that is in vogue.
But beyond this, the influence of film production on the audience has been put forward as the reason behind the use of multimedia in drama. Now, let's dive into the methodology of multimedia and see what makes it different from the film and stage form of staging.
The lighting the production, bringing the sound, synchronizing the sound with the visual, and of course, the principal lighting techniques have to be more properly learned. Okay, when there is a need for a follow spot, the follow spot should be done properly. When there is a need for the stage to be in floodlight, it should be done properly. The element of the key light and all that. So those elements must have to be much more rehearsed, and bring the student to bring the student along to act in unison with those elements that really make it multimedia. Proper lighting, proper sound, proper movement, and proper voicing. All that are very, very important in making sure that there is a comprehensive communication within the multimedia platform that is not just one-sided. It's a component of very many media elements.
More realistic projects, those things that you probably cannot be effective more on stage, makes it on media.
It has been established that multimedia is a perfect combination of film, stage, and sound effects. In achieving the needed effects in multimedia staging, we sought the reaction of some students and practitioners who have worked with Uncle Kadi.
To me, I see him as not a God-on-Craigist. I think he's more of a via media person. So he's a communicator, actor, director relationship, very important. And I think improvements in Pepper Soup actually showed in terms of his approaches, in terms of his relationship with actors, in terms of his vision. And I obviously, if you had seen the two productions, you know that there is a big difference, because at the end of the day, what I personally, from my own perspective, I would judge as improvement is the audience response to it. And I'm very sure that the university community that saw Aishatu 2 years ago or thereabouts still had that same audience followership, because he's a known person. Yeah. So the response would definitely tell you that, okay, this production has more improvements than the previous one.
The aspect I love most is the film aspect. His ability to blend the film aspect with that of staging is so fantastic, because I can understand that his ideas of bringing in that multimedia into the stage baffles everybody.
I think he sticks to Stanislavski's realistic style, and he uses that on stage, and since it's easier to achieve in multimedia, I'm sure that's why he believes so much in the media aspect, because it makes it more realistic.
He tends to bring in the multimedia aspect at the beginning of the play for introduction and the rest of the play, and during the middle point of the play, in order for the audience members not to get tired of watching one particular point, or not for the eyes to be fixated on one particular point, he brings in the film aspect, and I think he breaks them into two. That is, he takes the stage aspect, brings in the film, and it goes back to the stage, and finally ends with the film.
His approach, he's a very realistic director, and that actually helped him to achieve the concepts of multimedia. You know, he tried to make his bedrock realism, and also he's a kind of director that we refer to as a laissez-faire director. That is, he blends his idea as a director and the ideas and contributions of the actor together. So this really helped him achieve the multimedia production, because his creativity was not just embedded in the play. Okay. Actually, it was visible by both the productions on stage and also what we watch in the media.
My approach is laissez-faire attitude. Laissez-faire in the sense that you take a little to the left and a little to the right. Like Stanislavski in his method teaching, if you see the realist proponent, he says that everything must be real, and if that you want the actor to give you what he wants, you must know the actor and know his problems. So that's the attitude I use. I add this one to my directorial approach. I am hard, but I'm firm and I'm fair. I like to know you to your house. I like to know your problem. What is the problem that you have? Where do you stay? How will it affect my rehearsals or my production?
In audience evaluation, Mr. Kadimo Oqua takes us through his experiences from the inception of his introduction of multimedia staging in drama presentation.
When I first started this in the critic, people, this academic session, the critics used to say or want to say that I want to make the film dominate the stage, and what is the tendency that the people will not be too tended to the film aspects and leave the stage and stuff like that. But after a series of presentation, I think they have come to, and it has helped me to shape, they have come to see that that is the wow aspect of the stage.
Okay.
Good, because I think in my master's degree, my thesis was on survivalist advertising strategy in the East, in the eastern zone of Nigeria. In that work, I discovered that, you know, because of the emergence of Nollywood, people did not go to the theater anymore. So they decided, or they preferred to buy Nigerian films and stay in their houses and watch the drama on film. You know, because of the Sokoto saga, the insecurity and the rest of them. It's those things that I can use to bring back the people to the theater. And I think Multimedia has done it. Okay. Because if you're watching film in your house, come and see film on stage and see the stage drama at the same time. Okay. And each time we do that we do multimedia, I do multiple production, the hall is always filled. And the wow effect is always there.
The eye shot that he did earlier on was quite informative, was quite well done. And I believe also that if Aisha about 2 years ago, one or 2 years ago, was that meaningful, I believe that the pepper soup must have gone a stage further in terms of improvement.
Now, having pushed through the walls of initiating the multimedia staging in University of Calabar, what are the possible areas of improvement as will be expected by would-be audience and theater goers who come to view multimedia performances?
And that we're using the screen does not mean that we should de-emphasize the things that should also be done in live staging, in actual scenography on stage. The interest, how do I describe it now? The thing that invites you to live theater is your ability to create something that the audience member did not expect. If suddenly you find a ghost come out from the floor of the stage, that's unusual. And the audience member would wonder, how did this happen? Then light sprouts from nowhere, smoke comes from nowhere, the ground opens and swallows an entire community. Those are the things that would make theater interesting. And as I usually argue, the future of theater is in the adoption and improvement of technology. Adoption in the sense that find those ones that exist that we can adopt and maybe modify and use in the context of our productions. Yes, we can do that. And creating some more that would suit the context of either our creative ability or the scripts that we're working with. Yes, we can create and we can adapt. And both of these have to come together to make our productions more interesting, and they're all anchored on technology. So we should understand, in summary, that's critiquing the presentation on Unical Stage now, that is not just about recording and playing back, but we should.
These days, I try to demonstrate the element of the theater and media components very much, you know, by acting some of the things, you know, by projecting some of the things, by bringing more, the dimensions that are that showcase variety is the spice of life. So variety in production is the spice of stage production.
I have taught people, a lot of people are willing to follow the trend. I'll be on the supervisory aspect of it, but before then I think there's one major production I will do again in multimedia.
What are we expecting?
And that is, I was looking at my play, Ego. Since I wrote that play as a student, I've not directed it now. So that's the first thing, and it's a multimedia kind of thing.
For the theater practitioners and students of directing, what are the challenges facing the contemporary director in relation to the expectation from his audience and viewers?
Now we have different forms of new trending areas of theater. We have film, we have the 3D, we have carnival now, we have other festivals, we have road shows, we have other performances, even holograms now. Nowadays we don't even need actors to act on stage. You can bring holograms to your eyes, and they're in 3D and they're acting out. So I think that it should be encouraged. Multimedia should be encouraged, because theater, it's dissolving on its own. I know it's the mother of all theater, but it's dissolving on its own because other trends, other new forms are taking over, especially the screen. It's taking over big time. Everybody's patronizing that, and we have less patronage when it comes to the regular theater, traditional theater. So I think it must be encouraged, especially cinematography.
As you know, life as it is, if you don't follow the trend, you'll be left behind. If you don't follow the trend on time, you'll be left behind. See, theater has been argued that is decaying, is going archaic, as in the usual tradition of theater, because if you notice, everything is internet now. IT evolution is everywhere. Phones, before you check your dictionary, you go the old way, open your shelf, look for your words in your dictionary, but now you just tap the words you want in your phone and it's there. So if we don't want to evolve, if theater artists, theater practitioners want to stick to the old tradition of just going on stage, projecting and all that, the audience that you're presenting to, as you know, that they are already they are dwindling in numbers. You know, the theater lovers, they are reducing, but they're turning their attention to film productions now. And you know, but if you can, this multimedia has kept these theater lovers together intact, because what they actually turn their attention to is being brought into the theater.
I think I would love to improve the film. Still the film, because the stage is just the stage. No matter how you try to innovate and get creative, it's still the stage. You cannot do a production outside the stage. But the film the film has to be a blend of everything, both visual quality, both sound, both the directing, both the acting, and both the scripting. So I think I would love to put in more expertise and more hard work in the film.
Well, I think that multimedia cannot be efficiently achieved in this university, because before you can bring such complication in quotes into stage production, you must have a working theater. I mean that the elements of the theater itself must be working very well before the stage can actually complement it. But if the stage productions are not valuable enough, the multimedia will just add more problems to the stage. So I think it's still premature, and maybe if we keep trying, we'll get there.
So it is very necessary for the government to encourage young coming up directors and come up with programs that help to stimulate them into the act of maintaining this culture. And I think in a very short while the culture would be everywhere, and you'll see a lot of change in the theatrical art.